Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we're back again to basic chromatography. So we proceed with chapter 7C, known as the column chromatography. Okay, under this there is a subtopic under this chapter, which is a column chromatography. You need to know the principles of column chromatography, how to use the column chromatography, and then you need to also to learn about the advantages versus disadvantages of this column chromatography. And last part is the application of the chromatography. So, as I mentioned, column chromatography used to purify individual compounds from a mixture of compounds. So, which is your sample or mixture of sample will place at the top of the column chromatography. Then, the stationary phase, either alumina or silica, will place or held in a narrow tube, and the mobile phase is forced through the tube by gravity. So which is the mobile phase you will add on the top of the column chromatography. Same with the sample, but you need to place it. You need to add a bit of your small amount of your mobile phase. Then you will add your samples. Then again you will add more mobile phase in order to make sure the reaction or the separation will occur. And then for information, we use a filter which is made up from a glass frit or a glass wool plug or cotton, so which is will prevent it from our silica or alumina or our stationary phase, okay, to prevent it from loss lah, losing the stationary phase at the bottom. So normally we place a glass wool. Normally for column chromatography dia already lah, dia dah ada glass wool ataupun cotton tu dekat situ. So dia memang guna pakai, dan bila kita dah settle punya reaction, so kita bakal boleh guna pakai balik semula lah kita punya stationary phase. Okay, this is column chromatography. So column or elution chromatography is a type of absorption chromatography. Okay, and then stationary phase is finally divided in a solid such as alumina, silica or cellulose powder, placed in a narrow tube or column. Mobile phase is a pure solvent or mixture of different solvents such as mixture of hexane or ethyl acetate. And then the individual components are written by the stationary phase differently and separate from each other while they are running at different speeds through the column with the eluent. So the elution process will happen there. At the end of the column, they elute one at a time. No? Kalau ada color kat situ, 3 color, so satu persatu color akan elute lah. Maksudnya dia akan keluar satu persatu. So ada yang bertanya juga sebelum ni, so kenapa tak sekali arung? Each of that color will have a different rate, a speed rate. So di kat situ dia dah membezakan dia punya. Kita boleh separate lah by using this column chromatography. So eluent is collected in a series of fraction. Kat bawah tu maksudnya kalau hijau je kita ambil, kalau biru saja, merah saja. So dengan jelas dia boleh buat. So you can see from the video atau YouTube atau mana you boleh tengok. Okay, the composition of the eluent flow can be monitored. And each fraction tu akan dissolve, and then kalau let's say kita boleh tengok lah, kalau dia kata tak boleh appear, kita akan tengok UV ataupun UV light ataupun fluorescent. Okay, so this is what happened. This example from this picture, you can see that we the stationary phase already placed in the narrow tube, and then we load our sample, and then after that you add a mobile phase throughout the process. So meaning that if let's say dah habis, dia kita tambah lagi tu. And then we have the mixture there, which is the component to be separated. So first color, which is it has a weaker interaction with the stationary phase, will elute first, and then followed by the red color, which is it has a moderate interaction with the stationary phase, so dia akan elute second. Meanwhile the third one, blue one, akan elute lama sebab dia have a stronger interaction with the stationary phase. Okay, there is a two method generally used to prepare a column. First is dry method, and the second one is a wet method. So the dry method, you use a fill with a dry stationary phase powder, then followed by the addition of mobile phase, then flush all the mobile phase through the column until it's completely wet. Okay, ataupun wet method, column is filled with a slurry of a tertiary phase, powder and eluent. So meaning that this is common wet method yang kita pakai lah kalau you ada buat benda ni dalam lab, you akan buat benda ni. Second method lah, wet method, which is solution of organic material is pipette on the top of the tertiary phase. Eluent is slowly passed through the column to the advanced organic material. So this is the thing, eluent tu adalah mobile phase. Okay, separation of compound based on polarity, same with the partition chromatography. So still lagi dia ada reverse phase and also normal phase. So as I said, for normal phase adalah tertiary phase is polar, meanwhile mobile phase is non-polar. So for reverse phase is vice versa with the normal phase. So you can read from this slide. It's very easy to understand because already explained well here. Which is, for example, for the first one, perform a column chromatography using non-polar tertiary phase and a polar mobile phase. So compound will be separated due to different solubility in mobile phase and tertiary phase. The more polar compound is more soluble in the mobile phase, so it has the same characteristic with the mobile phase, so it will elute faster. Vice versa with less polar, so it will retain stronger to the tertiary phase and will elute later ataupun slower. Alright, so in this case, a polar compound will elute first, followed by the less polar compound, because you need to remember that your mobile phase is polar. This is a reverse phase, so it's just vice versa with the normal phase. Advantages and disadvantages of this column chromatography, which is advantages, it contribute low cost and disposability of the tertiary phase. Determine number of components of a mixture. Separate and purify substantial quantities of those components for subsequent analysis. Can be scaled to the project at hand. Meanwhile, disadvantages require some technical skill and manual dexterity, which is kat sini you kena betul-betul perform lah, hard skill. Kalau tidak, nanti kan you salah buat slurry, masukkan slurry itu salah, and then dia akan trap kat dalam tu, lagi susah buat separation tersebut. And then it actually take time to prepare and use, required constant attention. For experiment is being performed because the experiment is quite take a long hour, bukan sekejap lah. Okay, so this table is show that the comparison between column chromatography, paper chromatography, and TLC. So I already summarized all the important things that you required for this chapter in this table only. So you can see that there is I already separated, compare it between tertiary phase, mobile phase, type of chromatography, okay, and then type of force that move the mobile phase. So you can see, very easy to understand, so you can read this. Okay, silica gel for open column chromatography. So silica gel ni bentuk putih macam yang kita guna pakai dalam kasut tu lah. Dalam kasut tu ada yang menyerap air, air tu, wak air tu. Nah, itu adalah silica gel. So silica gel ni kita akan guna pakai lah kalau open column chromatography ni. Kita prepare and then kita place dekat TLC plate. A solid supported on an inert plate. So mobile phase is liquid. So this is the thing yang kita tengok lah ada perubahan sikit kan. So this is the application. We move to application of planar and column chromatography, which is normally used. This chromatography is very widely used in our daily life, especially in pharmaceutical company, which is determine amount of chemical in a new product. So from there, dia boleh buat drugs yang baru untuk treat berbagai penyakit yang muncul sekarang ni. In a hospital, you will detect blood or alcohol level by using chromatography. In law enforcement, compare a sample found at the crime scene with a sample from suspect. And then environmental agency determine the level of pollutant in the water supply. Manufacturing plant to purify a chemical needed to make a product. So banyaklah dia punya function. So while application of TLC can analyzing ceramide and fatty acid, detection of pesticide or insecticide in food and water, analyzing the dye composition of fiber, identification of medical plant and their constituent. In food industry, TLC method is used for identification of color, preservative and others. So chromatography memang bagus, memang boleh pakai banyak benda lagi. So meanwhile, this is application of chromatography. If let's say you ada chromatography to separate the color pigment in plant, because right now kan ada kita guna pakai chlorophyll, ada yang kalau pergi dekat farmasi tu sometimes you ada dijual ubat chlorophyll sahaja kan. To separate the component into mixture, for some example of a mixture of amino acid, okay, and then boleh buat macam-macam lah, boleh bezakan keratin dan sebagainya. Okay, that's all, end of chapter 7. Okay, hopefully you will understand and then gain some knowledge from me. That's all from me. Thank you very much and Assalamualaikum.